Now that you've read your novel and you've identified all the different story elements that you need for your one-paragraph summary, it's time to put that all together. Keep in mind that this paragraph is just to be used as an introduction for a regular essay where you're given some kind of a topic to talk about or to write about. So for each of these elements, you're going to write one sentence and one sentence only, with the exception of rising action, which we'll get to. It's usually good to combine your title, author, and genre into one sentence, and oftentimes you can put the protagonist in there as well. Okay? But other than that, each of these will get one sentence. Now, for the tag, you want to include, obviously, your title, author, and genre. And as I identified in the earlier films, in the case of Star Wars Episode New Hope, we have that it was written by George Lucas, and that the genre is science fiction. And so I've put them together in an opening sentence for our paragraph, which says, in George Lucas's science fiction film Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, the Rebel Alliance is attacked by the evil Empire. The protagonist, Luke Skywalker, is just an ordinary young heir farmer yearning to leave his home planet in the exposition. Now that's my second sentence of the paragraph, and it combines two things, protagonist and exposition. And I think I don't like it that much. If I were to edit this, I would probably start it with, in the exposition, the protagonist, Luke Skywalker, is just an ordinary young heir farmer yearning to leave his home planet. That sounds a little better to me, but for now, this is the unedited version. Remember, we identified the conflict. And what's unique about Star Wars, or what's interesting about it, because other stories have this, the protagonists have it as well, is that Luke Skywalker really has two conflicts. It starts off with one of them being to rescue simply Princess Leia, even though that's not that simple. But it really turns out to be, once he's accomplished that mission, that he has to go on further and try to defeat Darth Vader and the Empire. So I've put both of them into one sentence. Luke's conflict initially is to rescue the beautiful Princess Leia from the dastardly Darth Vader. And as the plot progresses, he also gets the added bonus of having to defeat the entire Empire in the process. Lucky him. Now, 3 points of rising action. It's okay to use transitional words here, such as later and next and first, and you'll see that in here. In the first part of the rising action, Luke finds a distress message from Princess Leia while cleaning R2-D2, a droid his uncle just bought. That's one sentence. Later, after meeting Ben Kenobi, Luke discovers that his aunt and uncle have been killed by the Empire, and he decides to go to rescue the princess. There's your second sentence. Next, he and Ben hire Han Solo. They all go to the Death Star and successfully save the princess. Now, this is a one-paragraph summary. A lot of details have been combined, 2 or 3 in each sentence. I've left out a lot of the drama and stuff. You don't want that in here. In this paragraph, you really just want to keep to the main points. So only 3 sentences for your 3 points of rising action. Keep in mind, obviously we've talked about this before, but your climax should be the resolution of the conflict for the protagonist, either positively or negative. In this case, it's pretty positive for Luke. Finally, in the climax, Luke and the other rebels attack the Death Star, where he uses the Force to fire a torpedo that destroys the huge space station. And I don't know if I said this before, but I hope you notice in each of my sentences I use the story element right there in the sentence. See it? Finally, in the climax, I use the words protagonist, I use the words conflict. Put those words into your paragraph and identify each element precisely so your reader knows exactly what you're talking about. Don't just say this happens, and then this happens, and then that happens, and then the most exciting part. Use the real words. Which include falling action. In the falling action, Luke is awarded the I Saved the Galaxy medal along with Han Solo. Now, I don't know what the name of the medal is, but I'm sure it probably has a name, but it seems like that's what he's done. So that's why I call it that, even though it's probably not the real name. And then one more time, your resolution is to talk about the condition of your protagonist at the end of the story. The resolution of this epic movie is that Luke has become the hero, not just to Princess Leia, but to the entire Rebel Alliance.